We're going to talk about depth over height.
To conform is to go unnoticed. In order to be different, we cannot be the same. When we intentionally create value for someone, we're giving them a gift.
Today we're going to talk about growth. And in particular, we're going to talk about two directions of growth that are in direct tension with each other. We're going to talk about depth over height. And, when we think about growth, we often look up. Our vision is elevated, our ambitions are heightened, and because of that, we often shift our gaze from ourselves, right, to somebody we wish we were. And, it could be another dental lab that's growing faster than us, or a technician who's more popular than us, or who is better than us, or just someone that we acknowledge is just doing it better. And as entrepreneurs, this is a very common predicament because we're a driven bunch and we are also looking for ways to level up. And so a lot of times it becomes, very easy to attach ourselves to a model that inspires us. And, the truth is that everything that has strength ultimately comes from depth. All strong organizations are deep organizations. And all strong people, right, whatever it is they're doing to change the world, they have a depth to them. They have a root system, basically, that is producing the fruit that you and I both recognize. And it's important to understand that a strong and clear vision that is executed is attached to a strong and secure root. All strong things grow deep before they grow tall. And there are areas in my life that I would love to grow in right now. There are areas in Harvest that I would love to grow in right now. And in order for me to take Harvest to the next level, or for you to take your dental lab to the next level, there are things that you and I still need to acquire, or else we would already be there. And very little of it has to do with money. It's human capital. We need to acquire character that we don't yet have. We need to acquire an experience, knowledge. We need to be tested. We need to make mistakes. We need new habits, new systems, ways of doing things. And believe it or not, there are times where I've actually had to intentionally slow growth down for Harvest. And I know it sounds crazy, but I've learned some lessons along the way. And those lessons basically culminated into an awareness that depth is way more important than height. It's not necessarily, the tall buildings that last, but it's the buildings that have the most depth, the strong, sound foundations. For me personally, 2016 was the culmination of a lot of these lessons. Believe it when I say this, please, that you can definitely grow yourself out of business. We had just had a 2015 campaign that culminated in a record year for us. And if I'm honest, I kind of thought I had arrived. I was getting some publicity. Harvest was becoming known globally. I really thought that I had made it, that I had figured this thing out. But, what I didn't know is that I wasn't ready for it. And if I wasn't ready for it, I definitely wasn't ready for more. I wasn't mature enough. I wasn't making it a habit to take a personal inventory. I wasn't identifying the chains that I couldn't see, and those chains were holding me back. They were holding me back from depth. My priorities weren't in order, and I became deceived with my success. And, it wasn't until I actually spent time praying into these areas, in journaling through this windy road of just kind of a forest where I couldn't see a horizon. It wasn't then until I could understand what actionable, measurable growth really was. And for you, wherever this applies in your life or in your business, you will find yourself in trouble if your goal is to chase growth. From the standpoint of getting taller and taller, you will find yourself in a shallow footing. But the lack of maturity to know where you really need to grow is deeper and deeper. And as a person, we're talking about different from your laboratory, right? You're the head. And so your laboratory is going to go as far as you're capable of taking it. So what does deeper mean? Deeper means finding that place, that place within yourself that allows you to navigate the highs and lows, the everyday grind. Here's a big one. Having the discipline to stay in the steady emotional middle. Not reacting to circumstance, not blowing up in front of your employees with emotional tantrums. Deep means treating challenges not as problems, but projects. I obviously don't have the answers, but here is where I started. I understood that there are two areas, for the most part, where we can be on the total offense, where I have total control, and that's the morning and the evening. These are the bookends, and if you can steady these bookends, if you can create immovable habits in the morning and the evening, you will be able to master the middle. And you will, by default, acquire the depth that will allow you to grow tall. And the account I hold myself to is 1% better every day. Just 1%. If you miss a day, don't beat yourself up. Just get back up the next day and keep going. All of this to remember that when you feel like you're not going fast enough, or you see that someone else is doing it better, don't look at the surface, but evaluate your own foundation. Like an iceberg, the top tends to be smaller than the larger bottom. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope that was helpful. Cheers.